So check this out. And no, I'm not talking about a grown man with a doll. I'm talking about Tippy Tumbles. Got it at a flea market. She tumbles by herself, backwards, forwards. She's tricky. She's flippy. It is supposed to have a remote, which I know it doesn't have, but I was curious about whether I could get it working and figure out exactly what it's supposed to do and how it works. So let's take a closer look. From Remco, and it says the secret remote control is in the pocketbook. I'm assuming like it's a three-way switch. You can see it's actually wired. They always try to hide that. You can see this is where she's connected. It looks like she has like some kind of police monitoring bracelet on there, but that must be where the remote connects. She needs a new pair of socks, or at least somebody should darn those socks. Supposedly she tumbles by herself, backwards, forwards, without even touching her. As she sits up, stands on her head, does a front flip, pulls herself up, and does a handstand, backflip, and many more tricks. What I'm not sure about is whether you have any control over it, or whether you basically just turn the dial on and it does all these movements together. Arms, like they don't move freely, so I'm assuming that's controlled by the motor, and the legs seem like they do. The remote control has 3 inputs, which is a little bit different. It says it uses 3 D-sized batteries, so that's 4.5 volts, and again, that must be in that purse. Got a bit of a complicated rig to try to test this out. I have a power supply set at 4.5 volts. I got some jumper cables or whatever those are set to these 2 probes. So I can put that in there, and so the rig has produced a 0 movement. So I will have to open, I think, it up. And again, I may not even be connecting in there. So that's one thing I gotta check. I gotta check if the motor's frozen. So I will be able to, looks like, unscrew the body here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws in there. The legs are glued shut. So if there's something wrong with where that remote attaches, that's gonna be hard to get this open. But let me start with opening this up and seeing if I can get to the motor and maybe some of the gears. Got the 5 screws out, easy enough. And it is starting to open up, but it's kind of wedged underneath the head here. So I'm gonna try to get in there with the flathead screwdriver and kind of pry this piece out. I was able to use a flathead and did get the head open, but I did crack it. So there are 2 leads that seem to connect over here and here for some reason. What the heck they do, I don't know. And there's the motor, and these are metal gears, which is extraordinary. And they're going to be attached to the arms here. The arms go around and around. So let me see if I can get the motor spinning. Connected the clamp to those 2 spots there and confirm that the power's getting to the motor, but the motor's not turning. I'm going to have to kind of free this so I can kind of spin it and try to hopefully free it up. I lifted the entire arm unit up slightly so that the gears are not engaged with that little motor. I'm going to try to get it spinning. The motor is stuck like I've never even seen before. I can't even turn this thing with my hand. A lot of times it's rough, but you can turn it. Like I can't even turn it at all. So I'm gonna try to get maybe a pliers on it and see if I can get it freed up. Plug your ears, but I did get it working. That's all I'll subject you to, but it needs obviously some oil. It really got bound up there. Let me show you how I freed it. So what I did was I actually took the gear off so that I could really get in here with the plier. And I gripped it really hard and I started to move it back and forth. I just started to kind of go like this a bunch of times, and I would take it from a slightly different position, grab it, again hard. There's times I actually drew on the axle with a Sharpie because I wasn't even sure if I was moving it. It's real hard to tell. And after I started cranking on it a bunch of times, I could tell it was loosening it up. And so then I finally put it back on and it started to work better. Another trick you can sometimes use, especially if you're using something like this with variable voltage, is initially turn it up. So I knew this was supposed to be 4.5, so I might turn it up to 6 or even 7.5, and that might be enough just to free it. And then pretty quickly I'll turn it back down to the right volts. I don't want to fry the motor. So it's running more smoothly. What I did was I used some 3-in-1 oil, put a drop right here, and then I kind of worked this gear up and down. It's hard to show you, but I worked this gear up and down. There's a little bit of push and pull with it. And I would turn it, push and pull, push and pull, push and pull. I did the same thing here, a little bit of drop, push and pull, push and pull. And now it's much quieter. Now I can try to reassemble this thing and maybe clean it up a little bit. Now I'm checking for continuity. I have my meter set to this. And basically what that does is if power's getting through, it'll go down. So what I'm trying to do is figure out whether power can get from here to these 2, I'm gonna call them pegs. So I'm putting this at the bottom one And so that's getting through on this side. If I do the other one, oh, it's actually getting through there too. So that seems to be getting through on both sides. So that's getting through. That's getting through. That's unexpected. And then the middle doesn't. So now that I think of it, that middle might not actually be an electrical connection. It may just be a way to kind of keep the plug in securely. Some research, and as you see in the picture and in the directions, that middle thing is just a plastic peg that does not conduct the power from the battery. Let me now try to plug it in and see if I get that motor spinning. So I got my original rig hooked up, and now theoretically when I put this in, oh, there we go. So that is spinning, and that's spinning counterclockwise. Now if I do these the other way, yeah, that's clockwise. It's basically working. It is going from here to here. So that's good news. And now the question is, can I possibly get this thing back together? I think I figured out what these are. This is nothing conducting electricity. I think this little bump here just fits into here so that the legs, they kind of click, 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 click into position rather than just freely move. When you reassemble, a couple things to look at and be aware of. Make sure that this gear is touching this one. Initially I had it over here, it was towards the end here. So this needs to touch this gear. This is what the arm looks like, where this divot is up against this. And similarly, the legs, this piece on the body fits in this slot. And this bar has to kind of go down into the slot on both sides. This thing is brittle. I've had some pieces break off. There's a little piece that broke off here. That head piece already cracked. So that's gonna make this much more difficult to actually get this thing to work because of the fragile plastic. So I've actually removed the head. I wasn't gonna be able to get it on, pry it into this in the right place with the head half on, half off. So I'm going to now put this back in place and see what happens without the head on. Talking about how brittle it is, another break. What happened was when I started to put it together, before I even screwed it, I noticed that the legs were still pretty loose. And so I wanted to try to potentially bend this a little up so that it would have better contact with these sprockets. But when I went to manipulate this, I just cracked it straight off. So that is not great. So I got her partially reassembled. These are really loose, but let's see what happens. Yeah, see, it's not making contact. Oh. Okay. So I just popped one of the wires out. Jerry rigged some rubber bands around here, around the leg to kind of keep them in place. As soon as I connect this, it should start to move, hopefully. It's alive. Oh my God. So it's, it is moving. Seems like it's doing the same kind of thing over and over. If the head was on, it might be slightly different. So theoretically now it should go backwards. Oh boy, so there's the headstand. Oh! It's kind of creepy without the head. All right, so I gotta work on a little bit, but proof of concept, if I keep it still, the arms just go in a circle. That's really all it does. I switched the black and the red, and now it is going clockwise. I really think that's the only control you have, and that's what's gonna make it do the different gymnastics. As far as I'm concerned, that baby's working. Ready to go into some little kids' arms. I use some crazy glue to glue this piece down. It's in, probably not super strong. I try to crazy glue that crack, put some duct tape over it, and now I'm just gonna throw some hot glue on it as well. I will now try to put her head back on. She's alive. So now's the big moment. I have her head back on, she's ready to go. I have all the wires that I'm gonna hook up here in a second, and I've kind of loosened them up so that theoretically she should tumble all the way across the table here. So that's maybe what she does in a sitting position. Okay. Have her feet at like a, 45-degree angle, something like that. There's a headstand. Ooh! So I'm going to put her on her belly so she can do a headstand. Ooh. Oh, jeez. Oh. Have her with her legs hyperextended. Oh, she's getting tangled up. Hold on. That is unnatural. Look at that handstand. She has been concussed. So obviously, she's not working perfectly here. But there she goes. Look at that. Whoa, that's impressive. That's... Ooh! She's got to learn to stick that landing a little bit better. Let's see what she does with one leg up, one leg down. Ooh. Oh. She's supposed to pull herself up. Yeah, that's kind of what she's doing. Oh, but she face plants. Look at that. Oh! You had to wonder what the little girls or boys would be thinking about this one. Like their little dolly would go to stand up and then like whack itself. Well, thanks for watching. That was an interesting little adventure. Please consider subscribing or at least a thumbs up. Remember, thumbs up never hurt nobody. Thanks for watching. I can put this in. Oh, Jesus. I just cracked the damn thing.